Hey everyone, I'm back. First off, before I start this video, my top 5 small forwards in the game, just wanted to congratulate all the basketball fans and all the diehards as well of getting basketball back. It's been a long time due to the lockout. Missed a couple months of the season. Missed a month at least of the season, not counting preseason. But it's gonna be a good time. Get basketball back at Christmas. Training camp and free agent period starts on the 9th. Make sure you check out my Facebook page as well as my Twitter, which I'll put in the description box below to let you know all the signings and all the play movements going to be happening. But starting off, I'm gonna start off with number one, LeBron James. He's the best player in the league, no doubt about it. Number one as small forward. If you look at his numbers last year, 51% from the field, 33% from three-point range. He wants to improve that. He's got to improve that, as well as he got to improve the 76% he shot from the free throw line. But he had 26.7 points per game, seven assists per game, and 7.5 rebounds per game. If you looked at his playoffs, he had a really good playoffs, especially in the middle, conference finals and the conference semifinals against Boston and Chicago. Really didn't do good in the playoff in the finals, I would say, especially towards the end, which I think that helped out. But he averaged 23.7 points a game, 8.4 rebounds, and almost 6 assists for 5.9. But I think that he's just the best by far, out of the best player in the league, and especially number one in the power forward, because just his ability to defend. He's one of the top 5 defenders, I think, in the league, especially on the perimeter. He has top 5, top 10 court vision. His passing ability, his ability to rebound the basketball, get to the rim. If he can become if he can get a consistent jump shot, he might just be really unguardable. He's too big, fast, athletic. So I think he's number one. And number 2, there's a tie, 2A, 2B. At 2A, I have Carmelo Anthony. Numbers that he had last year: 45% from the field, 37% from three, 83% from the free throw line, averaged 25.6 points a game, 7.3 rebounds, and almost three assists with 2.9. Also in the playoffs, you remember he had that big game against Boston. His team got swept. He got the big game against Boston with 42.17 rebounds. Numbers that he had in the playoffs was 26 points per game, 10.3 rebounds, and 4.8 assists. I think Carmelo Anthony is, in my opinion, I think he's the best. He's the best and easiest scorer in the game. He could just score from all facets. Everybody's gonna say it's Kevin Durant, but I think just Carmelo Anthony is the best scorer in the game. He can score from anywhere, from three. He improved his three-point range. When he got to the Knicks, he shot about 42% from three. His mid-range, he has one of the best mid-range games. He can back you down. He can get past you. He can post you up. He can post you up, fade you away. He's so quick, and he can just score from anywhere. So I think he's the best scorer in the game. He's close to Kevin Durant, but I really think he's the best. Moving on to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, leading scorer last year, 46% from the field, 35% from three. One of the best free throw shooters in the game at 88%. 27.7 points a game, 6.8 rebounds, and 2.7 assists. In the playoffs, he was great in his first round. He averaged about 32 points in the first round, 28 points overall, 28.6 points overall, 8.2 rebounds, 2.8 assists. The one thing that everybody thinks that Kevin Durant and Carmelo Anthony that they want to talk about is Kevin Durant's a willing defender. In my opinion, they're really the same defensively. The only difference in my eyes is that Kevin Durant's on a team that preaches defense, where you got Scott Brooks and you got guys like Kendrick Perkins around. When he had Jeff Green, Thabo Sefolosha, and Russell Westbrook, who's first or second team all defense. When you have defensive guys around you and your coach preaches defense, you're going to be known as a defensive type of player. So Kevin Durant is my favorite player due to the fact that he went to the University of Texas. So I follow him a lot, and he's not the defender that everybody thinks he is. Like Carmelo Anthony, it's a willing to play defense. They can play defense if they want because they're athletic enough to do it. But just the people that think that the reason why Kevin Durant is better is because he plays better defense. He's just to my opinion, he's just on a better team. I love Kevin Durant, but I just think he's on a better team that preaches defense, a better defensive team and a coach that preaches it. But like I said, I like those guys a lot. One thing I think that Kevin Durant doesn't do that's better than Carmelo Anthony is he can score from, like I said from before, Kevin Durant really doesn't score from like the low post area just because he's a little small. He's not that strong. He's not as strong as Carmelo Anthony. So Carmelo Anthony can back you down and he can score in the post. But Kevin Durant has a knack of getting to the free throw line, which really helps his point average per game. But to my opinion, they're 2A, 2B. But I just think Carmelo Anthony a little bit more. But I respect both of these players to give them a tie. Moving on to number 4. I got Rudy Gay, 47% from the field, 39% from 3, 80% free throw shooter, 19.8 points per game, 6.2 rebounds per game, 2.8 assists a game. And one thing about it is he only played 54 games due to the injury that he had, and he was out for the season. I really like Rudy Gay a lot. I think he's starting to get into that zone of being a really, really good scorer. You saw it earlier, and his just athleticism. He's one of the top 5 athletes in the league. He might be the next best athlete to LeBron James, in my opinion. Just the way he runs down the court, his leaping ability, and his defense is really it's very underrated. But he's a very, very good defender. I think just due to his athleticism, is willing to play defense. But I think this year, he could be a guy who's going to probably really explode if he could stay healthy on the Memphis Grizzlies. But just watch out for Rudy Gay. I think he's number 4. And moving on to number 5, I have Paul Pierce. Everybody's going to think that I had Paul Pierce a little bit too high on this list, especially with a couple of guys who I'll mention as honorable mentions. But my thing about Paul Pierce is he's just one of those guys who he's just a crafty scorer. He finds a way to score. He's one of those guys where he looks like a guy that doesn't look like he could play basketball at all. If he was to pick him up, he was a pickup game. Like, he doesn't look like a Kevin Durant, or he doesn't look like Rudy Gay athleticism wise, or Carmelo Anthony, the way that his body is built as big, or LeBron James, how ripped and athletic he is. He just looks like a regular person, but he's one of those guys that is just a real crafty scorer. 49% from the field, 37% from 3 last year, 86% from the line, 18.9 points a game, 5.4 rebounds, 3.3 assists last year. In the playoffs, he really didn't have a great playoffs, but he had a really solid playoffs. 20.8 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2.8 assists. But if he's not on that team, it's really hard for them to score. He's the one guy that the one thing that separated him from a lot of the other guys that I'm about to mention as honorable mentions is he can score on his own easily. He can take LeBron James, he can take a Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant, Rudy Gay off the dribble. His mid-range game is phenomenal. His clutch gene, making big shots, knocking down big shots, is incredible. That's the reason why I have him at number 5. I like Rudy Gay a little bit more, but he's right behind Rudy Gay when it comes to that 4 or 5 range. But those are my top 5. LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant as a tie, Rudy Gay, and Paul Pierce. Now, honorable mentions, I picked these 3 players because I really like them a lot. They really have all-star caliber, and they're really good players. I like Andre Iguodala. I think he was a guy who was 5, but Rudy Gay last year. He was 5 last year, but Rudy Gay really stepped up until he got hurt. So I'm taking Rudy Gay over him. Danny Granger, to me, was one of the most underrated players in this league. I think if he was on a better team, he'll get the recognition that he deserves. And Gerald Wallace is one of the best all-around players, offensively, defensively. He's one of the best all-around players that we have in the league. So let me know what you guys think. Who you think are the top 5 small forwards in the game? Make sure you check out my Twitter, my Facebook page. I'll put it in the description box below, but I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.